everyone, we're going to sketch a graph of this polynomial. The first thing of this f of x, first thing we're going to do, since this is not in standard form, is just to add our multiplicities here. This is 1 plus 2 is 3, so our degree is 3. Our lead coefficient is positive, so we're going to be looking at end behavior in just a minute, but just know that this is an odd number, and our lead coefficient is positive. We'll be looking at that in a few minutes. All right, our y-intercept is when x is 0, so you plug that in. So that equals 0, so we have 0, 0. Our zeros are when y is 0, so that would leave this x could be 0, and this factor, it would be 5. So we have 0, 0 with multiplicity equals 1, and this one is 5, 0, multiplicity of 2. That means when we graph this, for this x-intercept, we can cross the x-axis. For this one, it's only going to touch and go back down or up. Our maximum turning points is our n, which is 3 minus 1. That equals 2. And also after we graph, we're going to determine where our y is positive and where our y is negative. Okay, so let's look at our end behavior. Our lead coefficient was positive. Our degree was 3, which is an odd number, so we're in this area right in here. So this is going to help us graph our polynomial. So if I just kind of graph this real quick, we don't really care about how accurate this is, so let's graph that. That just means that our end behavior, we're going to be starting in quadrant 3, where x is negative, y is negative, and ending in quadrant 1, where x is positive and y is positive. That means, as you graph from left to right, where our x gets larger and larger from 0, our y from 0 is also getting larger and larger. Similarly, as x from 0 gets negative and gets smaller and smaller, so does my y. And that just tells you what quadrant you're in, basically. So that's what this part is. X is positive, y is positive. X is negative, y is negative. Okay, so we're going to base that on our graph, and we can go ahead and graph. We're going to be starting in quadrant 3, ending in quadrant 1. We have a y and x-intercept at 0, 0. And we have also an x-intercept at 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, as we start, we go to 0. Now, since the multiplicity here is 1, we can cross. For this video, we're not doing min and max. But you can just estimate that. Just kind of come back down to your 5 like that. We're just sketching a graph here. Now, as we get to 5, our multiplicity is 2. So that means once we hit the x-intercept 5, 0, we're going to make a U-turn and come back up. So this is where our end behavior is. We started in quadrant 3 as we graph from left to right. And we ended in quadrant 1. Now let's determine where our graph of f of x is. Positive and negative. So we're looking at this line y equals 0. So when f of x is negative, or y, that's your y, the only place that's negative is right from here. So that's going from negative infinity to 0. And where our f of x or y is positive, our graph here is positive right up here. So that would be from 0 to infinity. And that's it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.